Welcome to UVTV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Neon nigga for Featherman. Yeah, today I'm gonna be talking about wins and losses are necessary to understand life and death. You have to lose yourself to find yourself. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna be sniffing a lot in this video and stuff because I don't know why I got like a runny nose. Like, I ain't sick, but I got like a runny nose. But I don't give a fuck. I'm going. I feel the need to finish and do this video, so it just gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Uncut, unedited, raw, unfiltered, on God, all that shit. I do shit for God, so it'd be like for me doing shit for God, all possibilities. Okay, I'm gonna make it possible. I can do this video. UV can fucking dust and all that shit. Yeah, UV can do this. UV can do this video and stuff like that without all that extra preppy, all that whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just do it whenever. So just in general, from an overall aspect, wins and losses are necessary to understand life and death. Now, what we mean by that? So it's like everything, just in a sense, it's like a process. So you can't get lost into wants and needs, and you can't get lost into a certain win or a loss and stuff like that. It's like a up and down. It's a natural course of life for the most part. It's like a vibration and stuff like that. But above that would be like the frequency. The frequency would be the line of events and stuff like that. The direction you're trying to lead into for the most part. And the more you're able to lead, and the more you're able to externalize some type of direction that you're trying to go and go to distance when it comes to that, and be super motivated and proactive when it comes to that, you're able to make that space that you in, that you're trying to create for yourself, and make it bigger. And then you just condense it into a mentality, and then it gets condensed into the flesh, into some way, shape, and form. Something that turned nothing into something, no shape and form, and then it turned into a shape and form, right? And through that process, you're gonna go through those ups and downs. You're gonna go through those wins and those losses for the most part. But those wins and losses are all lessons. You have to look at the whole thing itself like a procedure, because a person who just gets all the success or get all the achievement and get all the wins and stuff like that, eventually they're gonna want to lose something in the process just to get that win again and stuff like that. They're gonna have to you're gonna have to lose something in so much shape or form. You're gonna have to change the way when it comes to thinking, because the only thing that's constant in life and change. So you could have came in the game whenever you was doing that thing, when it comes to those successes and achievements during that time period, and then 10 years later it's a whole different ball game. It's got a whole different set of people and stuff like that. It got a whole different set of terms and conditions and rules. It's still the same game, but the game in that system completely changed up compared to how it was when you first did that game in that system 10 years ago. So it's the same thing, same process, because everyone's going to try to adapt and try to have a bigger or better way of how to go about it in a more productive manner through these different shifts, so it can stay productive, so that same industry can still be held up and stuff like that. To make it like an easy example for the most part. So it's like, based upon those wants and needs, aka those wins and losses, right? It's not going to be about winning or losing at that point, right? The more you just understand the process and the journey from which you're doing, you're going to value that more. The minute you get lost into a win, you get lost into a pocket of time. The minute you get lost into a lost, that's what losing is. In it, like, losing is feeling lost just in general. So that's like being a lost spirit. So you just all over the place. You have no sense of direction. You getting lost into a certain loss that you went through, aka something that made you feel like you went through an L. You went through some type of losing type of spirit for the most part. You know what I'm saying? But from you going through that losing type of spirit, it's like your ego got hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's like whatever height that you was at, it like failed in some way, shape, or form. But it's like a seasonal transition from spring, summer, fall, and winter. Yeah, it failed like a fallen angel. That angle, that higher aspect you was in, it had to fall. It had to get decreased. The value had to get decreased. It had to get condensed into a shape and form. So that's like, yeah, it's like it's the epitome of like expansion, contraction, just in a nutshell. That's really what it is. It got expanded, and it was an overall existence, like an overall thing that was in existence, an overall shape and form. I mean, not even a shape and form. It was just the overall of what the thing is, and it had to turn into a bias. It had to turn into a subjectivity. It's something that turned objective, that everyone is going towards, and then they got more and more subjective to a specific shape and form to fit the sentiment of whoever came up with the thought idea, vision in the first place, right? And then it gets condensed to where it can subjectively fit everybody, but the subjectivity is going to make the objectivity and stuff like that. Like in the spirit realm, shit be working in reverse, but in the physical realm, we going to take it a whole different way. So people be thinking, oh, I have to do like some far out shit, but in the flesh, to be bigger spiritually when it's really the other way around if we was in the spirit realm. So it's a spirit, the space that you in, something that got cultivated, something that got created, and then it gets condensed into a mind, into a mentality, I thought I did feel an emotion, and then it gets condensed into the flesh. It's just they have to go through you, like the spirit or God, aka all possibilities, have to go through you to make it possible, to make it a thing. So nothing into something. It has to go into something to make it nothing again. So if it's turned into nothing, it's no shape and form. So it's nothing to you. It's effortless. But you had to put out a lot of effort to be effortless. You get it? Like it's always gonna be a fucking reverse psychology. It's always gonna be like a flip on his head type shit. So it's like, yeah, it's like the same thing with spring, summer, fall, and winter and stuff like that. So eventually, the fall, the winter time, it has to fall. It has to decay, harvest season and stuff like that. Oh, it has to be dead. It has to die out. So things can get closed in, condensed, snowed in. The same way how it snows during the wintertime, hibernation period. Okay, how are we going to recreate this? How is it going to get rebirth? How are we going to prepare for when it becomes spring? Spring is something off. When the plants get bloomed again, for the most part. So it's literally like that. It's like a process. So those wins and those losses are a process. So all of it is just a learning process for the most part. It's going to give you more knowledge. It's going to give you more of a know-how of how to go about it, and you can extract wisdom out of it. That win, that achievement can be a learning lesson, right, of how to achieve and win and get good when it comes to that process. But that loss, you had to go through certain losses to even get to that state of being of winning. So eventually it's going to turn into, oh, it's not about the win or the loss, because both of those is getting lost into a certain pocket. So that's like a want or a need. So yeah, sometimes we can do things based upon a want, a convenience, or being sought after and striving for a convenience overall. And then sometimes it's going to be about being needed, the necessities and stuff like that. But if you get too lost into that of the necessity, you're going to feel the need to not want no more, strive for something else. You're going to keep being lost into a comfort zone, a specific shape and form of how to go about it. There's nothing wrong with comfort zones, but when you get too lost into that one type of comfort zone, that one spectrum, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get too stubborn. You're going to be too fixated in that pocket, that memory, that specific thought, that specific feeling, that specific desire. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually you're gonna go against that thing. You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be like some like a Satan or like opposing type of energy. And don't get spooked out from me saying Satan. Satan just means opposing against something. Eventually you're gonna do the opposite. So it's like when motherfuckers who really like working out and like gym motherfuckers, when they be like no pain, no gain, that's what that means. Oh, you have to go through the triumph to even get to, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to go through the tribulation. My fault. You have to go through the tribulation to reach that triumph or reach the high of the thing you went through that caused all that pain. But that pain is going to be like a pleasurable type of pain. So it's like females when they have sex and stuff like that. It's like pain, but it's pleasurable type of pain because you're expanding on something the same way a nigga gonna stick his dick inside a coochie and it's gonna expand. You know what I'm saying? Like. That sounds mad ratchet and ghetto. Fuck. That's gonna sound mad ratchet, mad ghetto, mad like vulgar, but it is that though. You know what I'm saying? Like this is shit that's like not in like life. I'm just making an example of like the most like relatable shape and form you can look at it. Like that little small thing is actually like a big thing overall. You know what I'm saying? That's why life just be simple as shit. It be like real simple, real surface level, and then anything else is exaggerated and overcomplicating what's actually in life. Is really in front of your face. It's really shown through like little qualities just like that. But on a bigger scale, that means everything though. You know what I mean? Like, so all the way down to life, death scenarios and stuff like that. You have to understand that on the lightest spectrum and stuff like that. The lightest spectrum is like light as in weight. The lightest spectrum of our first body, which is just our mentality, is the thought, feeling, emotion. So it's the metaphysics, the mentality before it gets condensed into the flesh and stuff like that. And then it creates that life and death interaction and moment and stuff like that based upon the surrounding environment that you in, that you grew up in for the most part. So, you know what I'm saying? You always have to keep your head on a swivel, so to speak, using that type of allegory. So it's like, yeah, it's really like that. You keep your head on a swivel. You have to be very aware with the lighter shape and forms of these things, these thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions before they even get condensed into the flesh. And it's going to be based upon the type of space that you're in, whether it's a winning type of space, a prosperous type of space, a triumph type of space, right? All the way down to a blessed type of space, or a damned type of space, or a losing type of space, or like a lost type of space, like a lost spirit or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like a goddamn like a depraved type of state of being for the most part. But overall, these are just different states of being. It's just the overall state of being is understand you can be above both that win and that loss. So you start realizing overall, right, in totality, when it comes to existence and stuff like that, oh, those are just stepping stones. You know what I'm saying? You start seeing like, oh, that win or that loss is like a stepping stone to get where I want to be, which is the same way how motherfuckers want to make it to heaven and stuff like that, right? So that's based upon the atmosphere and the world that you in, the space that you in, right? On the lightest shape and form. And the only way your soul, your individual spirit can even get to that sweet spot based upon your subjective point of view of how you look at that and what makes you feel good and what make you feel happy beyond just the flesh is based upon that passion and motivation and the intentions of where you're trying to go when it comes to that. And eventually, I mean, overall, right, you want to feel good. So from you getting into that heavenly type of space or that nirvana on a higher shape and form, higher scale, which it ain't really a high and low. And if you want to really take it there, it's not really like a high and low, right? It's just you able to maintain it no matter the shape and form it comes in, whether it's high or it's low. You still gonna be you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not letting that deter the space or what you're trying to create and produce just in general. It's not gonna stop the productivity. So it's not even gonna feel like a win or a loss. It's not gonna feel like a setback. Even though you can look at it overall, it's a setback, but it's someone who's outside your point of view who probably look at it like that. But your train of thought and line of reasoning based upon your intentions, your motivation, and your passions is going beyond just that. So you just being passionate and motivated. So to you, it just look like nothing. To you, it just look like a lesser shape and form. But to someone else who ain't experienced and observed and did the same shit you did, to them it look like a setback. But to you, it's not really a setback. You know what I'm saying? It's just something you're gonna utilize as gas, as fuel, so you can get to that position that you're trying to be in. And the more you're able to do that on a lighter scale, so look at that as you trying to have a broader awareness. You trying to have a broader intelligence, a broader mentality about something, a better thought, idea, feeling, emotion, how to cultivate and go about that from your subjective point of view. So you have to create it yourself, and you don't get lost into a monetary gain. You don't get lost into the body. You don't get lost into the flesh, right? In the external tools and technology that get made from the flesh, right? You're going to be working with God for real, all possibilities. So it's going to be shown in many different avenues of different possibilities that you probably didn't even expect because you're not getting lost into the flesh, the monetary gain, the body, the external tools and technology that get made from the flesh, the appearance, the narrative, the agenda. You try to create it for yourself, homegrown. You know what I'm saying? Independent. You putting yourself first. You're not getting lost into a world where you're trying to put people outside of what you're trying to do first unless they in the same sentiment that you in, for the most part. And then overall, in totality, that's a better state of being to even be in for the most part. So it's like you literally getting lost. It's like peaking high school type of energy. If I want to make that mad simple, it's like, oh, I peaked in high school type of energy and stuff like that. You getting lost into that high. That ain't really a high. You know what I'm saying? It's like you feel exalted based upon that pocket of that memory of what you did, but you didn't make more memories and stuff like that. So eventually that win is gonna look like a loss. It's like peaked in high school type of energy. Oh, we're not in high school no more, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's been 5 years ago. Type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like same thing for me. It's about to be 5 years ago for me. type shit. But it's like I'm not even worried about that. I'm not in that space no more. I'm not experiencing that no more. I'm not observing that no more. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not in that memory no more. I'm trying to make other shit. I see myself in a more broader space than what it was before and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to have more experiences. I'm trying to have more awareness. I'm trying to have more intelligence. I'm trying to have more knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to create and produce more shit beyond just that pocket of time of when I was in high school, when I was fucking a teenager, 14 to 18, all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that type of energy. You have to use that as a stepping stone and graduate from the school of life, right? Instead of getting lost into the school of a university or an institution of which or what they're trying to basically permeate. Is that a word? I don't think that's a word. Of what they're trying to create and what they're trying to produce to make you look at life in a certain aspect. And then I think a lot of people who end up going, I'm not even trying to say there's something wrong with going to college or getting a degree. You know what I'm saying? Getting lost into Masonic degrees and bachelors and associates and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because based upon certain, you know what I'm saying? Because we need a search of workers. We need nurses. We need doctors. We need lawyers and stuff like that. You need to go to school for that. But like the way they get the shit set up, you have to go to school for that. But like you get what I'm trying to say for the most part, right? Like it's to understand to not get lost into that. It's certain programs that they have out here, like the military and stuff like that, or police officers. Even though we do need that, we do need shit like that. I'm not going against that. I'm saying, right? They just have things out here to where you have to go through their system to make that be what it is in the first place, like to make it so you could be that. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's to understand it's a system that your people didn't make. You know what I'm saying? Because of us being in America right now and all that type shit. You have to understand it's people outside like your culture, people outside your family and stuff like that who made that what it is. You're just a part of that system, but you're not lost in the system. Yeah, you're a part of the system, but you're not in it to be with the system type shit. You're in it for other reasons than just that. So you're gonna put up with certain things, intellectual property of based upon the physical properties and the physical industries and enterprises and business they done made to make that established, but you're not getting lost into their way of establishing things. You have your own way of looking at it. Overall, you just using that system to pimp the game, pimp the system in some way, shape, or form to have a better advantage of what you got. All the way down to a monetary gain. Some people just doing it for the sake of a job. Some people doing it for the sake of money and stuff like that. And then some people really have a passion for going to that college, going to that institution, becoming a police officer, becoming a fireman and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm just trying to make examples to make it make sense, to make it like mad simple for the most part. So it's like, yeah, you're not getting lost into that based upon the intentions. Like, oh, what's the intentions that you're doing it for? Are you doing it because it got pushed onto you because you feel like that's what it means to live life and be relatable so you don't look crazy in society or stuff like that? Or is it something that you really want to do and you actually have like a passion for real type shit? So, right. So it's like, it's the epitome of you're not getting lost into defeat. Defeat is defeat. You know what I'm saying? Like 12th house, like Pisces and stuff like that. What is that? That's the mystery behind history. That's the mystery behind the history for the most part. It's your story. It's the mystery. My story is just mystery for the most part. It's you understanding your story of the starting point of what you want to do, right? And it being defeat is a decrease of that feat. So from it being in defeat, right? It's whatever feats that you did, whether it's positive or negative. It's a feat though. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a feat, it's at the deterioration death stage. It's the tail end of something. So from it being the tail end of something, it's going to be at the ending point and it's going to start something anew and stuff like that because it's part of the feat, 12th house type shit. I'm just making different allegories for motherfuckers to understand. You know what I'm saying? Astrology, anatomy, the physical, you know what I'm saying? The spiritual realm, the metaphysical realm, you know what I'm saying? The physical realm. I'm making a whole bunch of different examples to make that shit make sense. So motherfuckers, all walks of life, all different people, all different type of perspectives who understand English. They know what the fuck I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, but for the most part, right? Like that, yeah, that feat got decreased in some shape or form. So it's like when a motherfucker actually accomplished something or had some type of achievement in their life. So that's a feat, right? But the defeat got decreased. So that's why it's called defeat for the most part. It's deifying. It got decreased. It got condensed and stuff like that. So from it getting condensed, it's going to turn into a shape and form. It turned to a shape and form. It's going to go through the death period. It's going to get materialized into the flesh, into somewhere shape and form, to turn into a shape and form. It was something that was a dream or an imagination that was on your mind. That was just the lighter shape and form, the thought, they feel, and emotion. And then it got materialized based upon manifesting men and women, externalizing, internalizing, building and supporting what's ever being built. You know what I'm saying? Externalizing, internalizing. You know what I'm saying? Men and women, masculine, feminine. That's all that is when it comes to manifesting. You're manifesting men and women. You have to go through that process. And then it's going to get condensed into a shape and form, into something so it can be experienced into the flesh. And you having that ability to will something into existence, and you always able to stay on that line of reasoning, that frequency, and turn it to a vibration. And then based upon the vibe that you in, right, you're able to condense it into what mattered to you, so it gets condensed into the flesh, into some shape or form. It starts to show how powerful your spirit is, because your spirit, the space that you in, or what you're trying to create and produce for yourself, right, it likes to create shapes and forms. It likes to create bodies for itself. So it's going to create mentalities, aka light bodies, and it's going to turn into the physical body, the organs, the flesh, the veins, the goddamn, you know what I'm saying? Like the skin. Like all that. It's going to create the layering system. But you have to understand the whole thing in itself is a process. So you don't feel guilty, or you don't feel that heaviness when it comes to grief, or that intensity, right? Or when you even go through defeat. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't get, you know what I'm saying? You don't be so hard and harsh when you start going through harsh realities, all the way down to if you actually lost someone in your life, you know what I'm saying? Whether that be like a breakup, like an ex or something like that, or someone who passed away and they transition. That's what that is. It's a transition. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that's constant, in life is that it's change, and you're not gonna able to have power control over that for the most part. And then just in general, if you think you got power control over that, and you're trying to have some type of dynamic, some type of deep power motivation to try to have some type of power control over it, life gonna show you don't got power and control over that. You can't, like, you have to let that thing go for the most part. That's really what that is, just in general, all the way down to a loss. That loss period, it means you feel like you lost something. So that's like that moving backwards type of energy. You looking back, you feel like you went through some type of regret, or you're regressing in some shape and form, when it's like, no, you had to go through that loss. Oh, you had to let that thing go. You know what I'm saying? So you can make and create and cultivate something better. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when people be saying those different allegories and stuff like that. Oh, if because like my ancestors died, or my predecessors died, aka like my grandma, my grandpa, or whoever in my family died, the thing they will want me to do is to keep living my life even though they gone and stuff like that. So I gotta do it, but also honoring them. That's where that shit be coming from. And that's what it mean to be honoring your ancestors. Look at that as people like your predecessors, the people who came before you and stuff like that, in many different shapes and forms, whether all the way down to the race that you is right now and stuff like that, and the type of family that you got, and the type of family dynamic that you have and stuff like that, and the different things that they did in their lifetime, and the legacy that they left, beyond just the flesh and stuff like that, just the mentality and the space, the spirit they was in. But based upon the battle scars that their spirit went through and stuff like that, they able to have more experiences. They observed and went through a whole bunch of different things, and they didn't take no shortcuts. They went through shit. So that's the thing that's gonna be inspiring for the most part. That's the thing that's gonna make motherfuckers look at you like the walking example. That's the thing that's gonna make motherfuckers look at you like, oh, this motherfucker should be the leader and stuff like that. This motherfucker know how to put himself first. This person know how to lead. That's where all that be coming from a lighter shape and form, the actual essence, the actual substance behind something. That's why people always be so thirsty for that type of energy and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They want to cling onto anything, anybody with essence, anybody with substance, anybody with some type of higher virtue, principality, morality about themselves and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they know how to do it in a big shape and form, and they can be around a million motherfuckers, but it's not going to stop them from creating and cultivating what the fuck they trying to make for themselves. People look at that as, oh, this motherfucker got his own atmosphere. He got his own world. He got his own sphere of reality, and that's just the atmosphere that we in. But that's what we're here to do just in general. We're supposed to make atmospheres. We're supposed to make different worlds from our own subjective point of view based upon our individuality and our authenticity. So you know what I'm saying? That's what mankind is. We're trying to be man, but in a real one of a kind way. But you can only do that by you being authentic, by you being one of a kind and stuff like that. And you doing it at the lightest scale without getting lost into a monetary gain, aka the flesh. And you able to go through different transmutations and transformations and mutations and transitions, just like the seasons, like literally. And we see that based upon the celestial bodies that we have right now with the sun and the moon and the phases and stuff like that. You able to go through different phases. You know what I'm saying? You was able to go through a birth, life, death. You was able to be born into existence, have a certain lifestyle, and live life just in general, right? And give it sentience. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when a baby's being born, coming out of womb, and then start to live his life and start to become a spiritual adult, start growing up and stuff like that, all the way down to physically growing up. And then, right, it's going to end up going through that death period and stuff like that. Oh, eventually it's gonna end up dying, all the way down to one day we all gonna die. So what type of legacy, what type of thing you want to do? So like, what type of thing do you want to leave while you're still alive and sentient at the moment, and you still have the ability to do that in the flesh, in the body, and that thing could actually be experienced? And how you gonna keep that thing alive? So look at that as like legacy. You know what I'm saying? Beyond actual death and stuff like that. And then even the Bible be saying shit like this and stuff like that. That's why they talk about the afterlife and all that type shit. When it comes to like that afterlife type of concept, they really talking about after death, but it's like an in reverse type concept, but that's a different video, right? So the afterlife, oh, after the life time that you in right now, from the time you put into something, right? For what the fuck matter to you, what's the thing that's gonna be that's gonna be upheld, that everyone's gonna look at like, oh, this is how this motherfucker lived his life. This is the space that I was in. This is the mentality they was in. Oh, this is the better way of how they, you know what I'm saying? This is all the things they cultivated while they was alive, and then they left some things substantiated for their kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that. It's like that. So at that point, that's when you really working with God for real, all possibilities, and the angels, the higher angles of how to go about something. That's all that shit means. That's all that shit means. You just had a better angle on how to go about it. A broader angle, a broader intelligence, a broader awareness and stuff like that. And regardless of motherfucker call you pseudo, or this motherfucker be talking some real metaphysical, spiritual type talk, but that's why that shit matter though. You know what I'm saying? It's mind physics, it's mentality physics, all the way down to the space that you in, of what you're trying to create and produce for yourself. And that's just your spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's that, like, that's how you got birthed into existence and stuff like that, from your different lifespans and lifetimes, and you able to expand your awareness and stuff like that. That's why you more smarter than an animal and stuff like that. Even though we're a type of animal type shit. We're a type of mammal, right? But we're more intelligent than any other mammal. Why do you think that is? It's because of that. We can make those things pets, but it's not the other way around. So the same way how they can learn from us to have a better way how to be an animal so they can become a human, it's the same way how humans are using the atmosphere that we in right now, right, to become better men and women. Like it's the same thing, because that's what's greater than you on a lighter shape and scale, do different seasonal transitions that sentient that you can't control. Look at it as like the sun and the moon. It's moving, it's rotating. You were going through different seasonal transition. Y'all can't control that though. You know what I'm saying? So it's moving. It's aware. It has some type of intelligence. It's just on a lighter shape and form that we don't understand. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's literally just that. It's literally just that. It's not gonna come in a human language and stuff like that, because they're not human. Like, that thing in itself that's in the atmosphere, that's in the air, it's not human. But God gave you the ability so you can do that. So it's you showing, it's God showing, here's a lighter shape or form of how to do that, but it's not going to come in the human perception of how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So we're always going to try to find the best way how to go about it and try to make it make sense so it can be human and stuff like that. But we're really trying to become greater than humans type shit. Like, we're trying to use the human mind and capabilities so we can do something that's beyond just human, for the most part. The same way how animals will look at us like, oh, we're beyond just their lesser shape or form. Something that's beyond that animalistic trait, for the most part. So that's why we have lower animalistic beastly natures and stuff like that. If you want to talk about the root chakra and the lower chakras and stuff like that, right? That's something we was able to do so we can have our awareness span bigger than theirs, for the most part. So that lets you know how ancient humans really is, but we're really trying to be some new refreshing type thing that's beyond just human, and go through the different centuries and time and all that type stuff when it comes to civilizations and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that destroy, us going through different civilizations and stuff like that, so we can have a better civilization and society, so we can get to that point. And the only way we can get to that point is we have to make some type of territory or something established to where we're going to honor that intelligence. We're going to honor that creativity and stuff like that. We're going to honor the spirit, the space of what that is, to have a better mentality and stuff like that, and not have no selective point of view of how to go about that thing. Because a lot of that we turn to the government trying to control that, or like westernizing things, or capitalism, or colonization, or something like that. That's blocking that. Like, yeah. So for the most part, right, we have to be, you know what I'm saying? Like you going through that loss, because I'm going to go back to the original point of the video, for the most part, even though all this is important, right? You going through that loss and you losing yourself and you going through uncertainty is going to put you in a shape and form of being certain of what you're uncertain about, for the most part. So it's going to turn you into a perspective of, oh, you was out of your mind. Oh, you was uncertain. But it's only going to show you, right, from an overall perspective, based upon that uncertainty, what's comfortable for you in that uncertainty. Because we're always going to try to be in a comfort zone. We're always going to try to be in a certain subjective shape and form that resonate with us first. You know what I'm saying? Us as an individual and stuff like that. And what's pleasing and non-pleasing. So eventually you're going to turn into that situation to where you're going to learn, like, it's not even about morality, but you're going to learn what's right for you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to learn what's wrong for you. Eventually you're going to learn the specific pocket you like to be in based upon your individualistic way of how to go about stuff, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So that loss is going to be a win, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? That weakness, that thing you looking at as a weakness ain't really a weakness. You're going to turn that weakness into a strength, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It's going to give you a whole bunch of different mental strength and resilience and spiritual strength and resilience and stuff like that based upon what you're going through. But you went through it though. You experienced it. You didn't try to shortcut it and stuff like that. It's gonna show you how to have a better shield. It's gonna show you how to have a better sword. It's gonna show you how to have better armor. It's gonna show you how to be more spiritually, mentally, emotionally protected, all the way down to physically protected and stuff like that. Have a weapon on you. Have an FN on God. You know what I'm saying? Like, take shit. It's gonna show you how to have a better way of how to go about that. Because eventually, from you being lost for so long, from you being lost, you're gonna identify that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna understand. Oh, that's what loss is. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna understand. Oh, this is what it means to not have that thing, and it can always be worse than the situation. It can always be worse with the situation that I'm in. You know what I'm saying? And that sounds cliche as shit, but like on God, it really is like that though. You can always be put in a circumstance, in a situation, an environment that's way worse than the environment that you in, no matter like how high you is in some type of aristocrat plutocracy, elite motherfucker who rich as hell in the physical, all the way down to the lowest, poorest, crack-headed ass motherfucker and stuff like that. It can always be worse. Or middle class and stuff like that. It can always be worse. You know what I'm saying? And then your type of worst or your worst nightmare and your worst fear is always going to be relative. It's always going to be your specific point of view of how you look at it. God gave you the ability to will these things into existence, to make these things possible, to make it so you can create it for yourself based upon your own subjectivity and your own perspective. But the main point is you need to have more awareness and a better angle, higher angle of how to look at it. And that's what being with God and the angels and stuff like that. Higher angles and higher consciousness and higher possibilities, or a higher intelligence, higher morality, or some shit like that. I'm just making up different political talking points. You know, allegories, metaphors, and stuff like that. Similes that's like something, so you can understand what the fuck I'm trying to say. So, right, it's like you need to it make it so you have more abilities and not an inability, for the most part, to maintain, because the only thing that's constant in life is change, aka the ups and downs for the most part. So those losses or those inabilities or the things that make you feel lesser and stuff like that, the things that make you feel blessed, because being blessed just means being less for the most part. So it's going to come in a lesser shape and form. It's just going to show you how to expand out of those lower natures. Look at that as, getting lost into the word, getting lost into the language, getting lost into the linguistics, getting lost into the losses, getting lost into the L's and shit like that. If you want to make it more relative, if you want to make it more relatable, if you want to make that shit make sense, it's showing you how to expand out of that for the most part. So it's always going to be a subjective point of view, and it's always going to be relative. But the better overall thing in totality of how to look at it is the lighter shape and form. So it's based upon that mentality that you're in, right? But you're not getting lost in something, though. You ain't getting lost into sin. You ain't getting lost into inception. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting lost into a language. You ain't getting lost into love. You ain't getting lost into lust. You ain't getting lost into the L's that you took and stuff like that. And that's the thing you're gonna utilize as a stepping stone, so you can get to so you can get to the next achievement, get to the next win, get to the next expansion period, and then contract into that one, and then try to expand out of that. It's all the whole thing, just in general, is an expansion contraction process. A gain, then a loss, a win, and a loss. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to make that grief period easier on you, and everyone's going to be grieving. Everyone grieves differently type shit. But that's the thing universally that we all united in. We all going to take wins, and we all going to take losses. But we all going to experience birth. We all going to experience life. We all going to experience death. But the whole thing, and we all going to experience rebirth and stuff like that. But y'all, that's a whole different convo and stuff like that. Because a lot of motherfuckers don't be believing in rebirth and reincarnation and motherfuckers coming back. But the thing and the shape or form that you come into, eventually you're going to become a shape or form that's out of that. So look at that as actual death. But you can come back, though, based upon how you want to be born into existence, based upon what you did for yourself, based upon the spiritual space that you in, and caring about that first. But that's a different video. So, like, just learning, just in general, how to become more genuine, how to become more authentic, how to become more vulnerable, but not feeling like you being spiritually attacked or physically attacked from you being yourself in all totality and stuff like that. It's something that you want to do at your own volition, and you ain't giving a fuck about how it's coming. And then going through the different observations and the different experiences and stuff like that, the ups and downs, you're going to learn a better way of how to create and cultivate and go about that. For the most part, it's just y'all can't be using that as like an ego boost based upon how much you have that in the flesh, because it's just a monetary gain. You could die right now and you can't take none of that shit with you. So what does that tell you? What's important in actuality, right? If all that shit is gonna go away, and then all those things got man-made. It's not to say it's not important. It's not to say we don't need money. It's not to say we don't need material things and stuff like that. It's not to say we should say, oh yeah, the external world and earth is hell and stuff like that, and we shouldn't give a damn about it and create World War III like we trying to do right now and stuff like that. It's not to say that. It's understanding life is precious, and understanding that birth is precious, and understanding the death is precious and stuff like that. It's a transition. All of it is a transition. So it's gonna change the way you even look at death. And you probably gonna get to that point to where you're not even afraid to die and stuff like that. If you actually living life for real, and you actually accomplishing your dreams, and you actually going into you actually trying to create some type of substantiated thing and build something for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Or you actually going up in life in some way, shape, and form. But it's based upon, you know what I'm saying? Like the amount of time, and you know what I'm saying? It's about the space, time, and the matter. You know what I'm saying? The space that you in, the time you put into something, the attention you put into something, and trying to expand that tension span, right? And it mattering. So from it mattering, it's gonna get condensed, and it's gonna get materialized into the flesh, and it's gonna eventually die out, and then eventually you want to do something else, right? So it's like a motherfucker who became a millionaire and stuff like that. But it's like, see, like you could tell a difference between a motherfucker like who become a millionaire, but they ain't gonna know what to do with it because they didn't get fulfilled inside first. They didn't get fulfilled based upon like the journey they're trying to get to and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, I got that $1 million and stuff like that, right? But I don't even know what to do with it. You just got lost into a monetary gain. You get lost into, oh, I just want $1 million because I want $1 million because it's gonna make it so all of my wants and needs and my conveniences is just right there and stuff like that. But you're not gonna be substantiated or have some type of essence or substance back behind it. So your value is just gonna show that it's basically you're gonna have to end up going through a whole bunch of different experiences to show you that all your values ain't really shit. You need a better value system. You need a better substance and be rich in spirit first, based upon the mentality that you're in before it becomes the material reward and stuff like that. And that's going to be fulfilling. So even if you got $1 million or 100 million or 500 million or $1 billion, you're actually going to use it for something. You're going to use that shit because you're going to care about that first. You're not getting lost into a monetary gain. You ain't getting lost into a want. You ain't getting lost into a strive. You ain't getting lost into goddamn a need. You ain't getting lost into a necessity or some shit like that. You ain't getting lost into the gain. You ain't getting lost into the loss. You ain't getting lost into the achievement. You ain't getting lost into the win. You ain't getting lost into the loss and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? All that lead to, oh, me losing myself help me find myself in some way, shape, or form, and what I want for myself in totality, right, is not getting lost into the want or the need. I want to make it so, oh, I want to create more, and I want to expand and have more awareness so I can do that again. And that's when you start working with God, for real, all possibilities. That's when you be with the angels and all that type shit and these higher beings that be in existence and stuff like that. Because you're gonna care about that internal energies to fulfill yourself and not the external energies that you're trying to utilize to fulfill the inside. So you're not doing things from the outside in, you're doing things from the inside out. Oh, I'm doing something based upon something I made up from my imagination, and I want to make that real in reality, and I'm gonna use these things like on the earthly plane, and I'm gonna utilize these things on the earthly plane of existence, the material world, the physical world. I'm gonna use these things as tools. I'm gonna use life like my bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna use these physical things like my bitch so I can go through that, you know what I'm saying, that expansion contraction thing again. It's like a spiritual jump roping and stuff like that to make it so I can stay in sync. I can stay relatable. I can stay creative. I can stay productive. I can stay mentally, spiritually in shape and stuff like that. So I can come in any type of shape and form and stuff like that. And I never came in the name of that thing and stuff like that. And if I did, I don't even give a fuck about it like that. I don't give a fuck about, like, bro. I don't get, bro. Like, you eventually it's gonna turn into, you ain't gonna, bro. I'm getting in the spirit, man. I'm getting in the spirit. I'm gonna calm my ass down. I'm getting in the spirit, man. But it's like, eventually it's gonna turn into, man, you're not gonna give a fuck about none of that shit for real. But not like, oh, I don't give a fuck, like, I don't give a fuck about life or some shit like that, and fuck the world and act like some PONK punk ass degenerate or some shit like that. No, it's you coming in the light of like, oh nah, I actually, like, I don't give a fuck about whatever label or whatever try to, you know what I'm saying, without whatever agenda, whatever narrative, whatever observable event, whatever propaganda you're trying to throw onto me when it comes to, oh, trying to tarnish my name, throwing dirt on my name because of this, that, and the third, because you know what, like, bro, you know the first shape and form you came into, you know your passion, you know your motivation, you know your purpose, you know what the fuck you trying to do, you know what I'm saying? And you ain't gonna let none of that shit really stop you for real. Cause you're gonna be more highly spirited and stuff like that, and God gonna be working with you, and it's not gonna be God coming in a deity and shit like that, like some religious motherfucker or like the Abrahamic God and stuff like that. Cause y'all be looking at God like a deity when God is just all possibilities to make it so it's possible through you from your subjective point of view, so you can create something for yourself, and not the other way around where you gotta use some other denomination or use some other religious text or use some shit that already got put and program out here, like some Jesus Jesuit God or some shit like that, to make you look at the world in a certain way. You made up your own worldview. You made up your own atmosphere. You made up your own, you know what I'm saying? You made up your own culture. You made up your own shit that go with the sentiment that you're in based upon your subjective point of view, and it's gonna make the overall world in totality of existence, the objective